Scars never fade. They remind us of every fight, every mistake, and every wound that refuses to close. For Peacemaker, the past isn't just a memory, it's a chain pulling him deeper into chaos. No matter how hard he tries to bury the pain, it rises back to the surface, demanding to be faced. And this time, healing might tear him apart even more than the wounds themselves. The world of Peacemaker has never been simple. Violence shadows him like a curse, and loyalty is tested in every direction. After the explosive events of the last episode, everything feels broken. Trust between the team has cracked, friendships are under pressure, and the line between duty and personal survival is vanishing fast. Christopher Smith, known to everyone as Peacemaker, is not just fighting enemies out on the streets, he's fighting the ghosts inside his head. Each choice he makes cuts deeper than any blade, and each silence from those around him screams louder than the chaos outside. This new chapter begins with him staring at his reflection, battered and torn, wondering if the man in the mirror is still a hero, or if he ever was. The people he needs most are pulling away, their loyalty shaken, their patience burned. But there's no time to breathe. A new storm rises, a threat that can't be ignored, one that forces him to stitch the broken pieces of himself back together. Whether he's ready or not, pain is not new to Peacemaker. From childhood scars to bloody battles, he has lived through more than most men could endure. But this time, the pain cuts differently. It's personal, emotional, and unrelenting. His past sins creep back like shadows, wrapping around his throat, making every step heavier. The irony is clear. He calls himself Peacemaker, yet peace has never truly been his. What lies ahead is not just another mission. It's a test of his soul. Will he rise above his failures, or will he collapse under the weight of his wounds? This question lingers like a sharp edge, waiting to cut him down if he hesitates. In this fragile moment, silence speaks volumes. The team looks at him with doubt that stings more than any bullet. Peacemaker's body may heal with time, but trust doesn't. The deeper scars lie in betrayal, in broken promises, in the harsh reality that people closest to him can also be the ones who hurt him most. Each lie questions not only his leadership, but his sanity, wondering if following him will only drag them into the fire. And yet, somewhere in that broken circle, a spark still flickers. A spark of loyalty, of belief, of hope that maybe, just maybe, Peacemaker can find a way to bring them back together. But hope is fragile. Every step forward feels like walking on glass, each word spoken carrying the weight of collapse. The air is tense, heavy with unspoken truths. Everyone knows that something big is coming, a new danger waiting in the dark. It's not just about bullets and blood this time, it's about wounds that can't be stitched shut so easily. A storm is rising, and in its heart lies the test that will decide whether Peacemaker can truly be more than his name, or whether he'll drown in the chaos that has always followed him. Every scar tells a story, but the ones you can't see are the hardest to carry. Peacemaker's hands tremble as he straps his gear back on, not because of fear, but because the weight of responsibility has grown heavier than the guns he carries. The room around him feels smaller, the air thicker, as if the walls themselves are pressing in on him. He has always hidden behind jokes, crude humor, and the mask of a man who doesn't care. But now the mask is cracking. For the first time, the silence between his words feels louder than the laughter he forces out. And beneath that silence lies a truth he doesn't want to face. He isn't just fighting enemies on the outside. He is fighting the reflection of himself that whispers, "You will never change." The team feels this shift too. Harcourt, always steady but worn down by her own scars, looks at him with eyes that question if this mission is worth it anymore. Economos, who hides his own wounds behind sarcastic comments and quiet loyalty, notices the cracks but doesn't know how to mend them. Even Adebayo, torn between duty and the blood ties of her family, struggles to balance the weight of her choices with the pull of her conscience. These people aren't just soldiers, they're fragments of a family stitched together by missions, lies, and necessity. And just like Peacemaker, they are breaking at the seams. The bonds that once held them together are fraying thread by thread as mistrust and exhaustion begin to take their toll. but life doesn't give them time to heal. The threat waiting in the shadows is merciless, and it knows exactly where to strike. Every weakness, every crack in their armor, every scar they hide, this new enemy is ready to tear it open. Violence crashed through their fragile peace like a thunderstorm, and suddenly there is no space for doubt, no room for hesitation. Peacemaker finds himself once again at the front, bullets flying, fists shattering, blood marking the floor. The battlefield becomes a mirror of his mind, chaotic, relentless, unforgiving. Every blow he lands feels like penance. Every wound he takes feels like a reminder that no matter how many people he saves, he can't escape the man he used to be. The irony cuts deep. He named himself Peacemaker, but peace is the last thing he finds. Each fight becomes louder, each scream more piercing, and in between the chaos, there are moments, brief, fragile moments where his mask slips and the broken man underneath shows through. His eyes, often hidden behind bravado, flicker with a sadness no one can unsee. And it terrifies the team because they realize the truth. They don't just need Peacemaker the fighter, they need Christopher Smith the man. They need the heart under the armor, the soul under the scars. But the question that hangs in the air is brutal. Does that man still exist, or did the battles already erase him long ago? And then comes the choice, sharp as a knife. To hold the team together, he must face not only the enemy outside, but the wounds inside that never closed. He must become the suture for them all, the thread that binds broken souls together, even as his own begins to tear apart. This moment doesn't come with glory. It doesn't come with triumph. It comes with silence, a heavy silence where eyes meet across a battlefield, and for the first time, they see him not as a leader, not as a weapon, but as a man bleeding just like the rest of them. And maybe, just maybe, that is what gives them the strength to fight again. Night falls like a curtain, and with it comes a silence that feels almost cruel. The battlefield is not empty, but it carries a different kind of noise now, a quiet hum of aftermath. The smell of smoke lingers, the ground is still stained, and broken fragments of what once stood now lie scattered like pieces of a forgotten memory. In that silence, Peacemaker sits alone, helmet resting at his side, his breathing heavy, chest bruised, and mind restless. The fight might have ended for the moment, but the war inside him has only just begun. He has always been a man defined by action, by the crash of fists and the flash of bullets, but now, when the chaos fades, the shadows of his past creep back in. He can hear his father's voice like a poison echo, can see the ghosts of the people he failed, and deep down, he wonders if the world would be better without him. This is not the swaggering, loud-mouthed warrior the world sees. This is Christopher Smith, a man staring into the cracks of his soul. The others are not blind to it. Harcourt, blooded but unbroken, watches him from across the room. She sees not just the soldier, but the man collapsing under the weight of his own armor. Akonomo sits slouched against a wall, his face pale, pretending to scroll through his phone as if distraction could erase the fear he just lived through. Adebayo, caught between her mission and her morality, feels the tremor in her hands as she cleans her weapon, each movement sharper than it should be. They are all fighting their own battles in silence, each scar a secret story, each glance an unspoken confession. The team is still together, but the threads holding them are thin, fragile, and dangerously close to snapping. And in this stillness, they realize something they haven't admitted aloud. Survival isn't just about fighting enemies out there, it's about keeping themselves from unraveling in here. But the world doesn't forgive weakness. Just as wounds begin to sting less and hope begins to flicker faintly, new shadows rise. This enemy, faceless and ruthless, doesn't just want their lives, it wants their unity, their trust, their belief in one another. Every scar they carry is a doorway. Every doubt they whisper is a weapon waiting to be used against them. Peacemaker knows this better than anyone, and yet he cannot stop the cracks from spreading. He feels the distance growing in every glance from his team, every sigh, every silence. They look to him, waiting for answers, but all he can offer is a man stitched together by lies, pain, and the desperate need to prove that peace is worth the cost. And the cruel irony lingers, peace has always cost him everything he's loved. As tension rises, so does the violence. The night that was supposed to bring rest erupts with chaos once more. Explosions shatter the silence, screams cut through the dark, and blood paints the ground again. Peacemaker doesn't hesitate, he charges forward, every strike fueled not by hope, but by fury. His body moves like a machine, but his heart pounds like a broken drum. Each beat reminding him that he is not fighting for peace anymore, he is fighting for redemption, for forgiveness, for something that might finally silence the ghosts clawing at his soul. But with every swing, every bullet, he risks becoming the very monster he swore he wasn't. And the line blurs dangerously between saving lives and losing himself. The moment stretches, sharp and merciless, as Peacemaker faces the truth. He cannot escape his scars. They are his history, his burden, and his curse. But maybe, just maybe, they can also be his strength. A scar is proof of survival, proof that the wound did not win. And so, blooded and broken, he pushes forward with the fire burning in his chest, knowing that this battle will not heal him, but it might give him the chance to hold his team together for one more night. Whether they trust him, whether they forgive him, whether they believe in him again, all of that remains uncertain. But for now, with the storm raging around him, Peacemaker decides to fight not because he wants to, but because he has to. The storm does not end, it only changes shape. What began as fists, bullets, and fire now transforms into something heavier, something deeper. Peacemaker stands in the ruins, chest heaving, blood dripping, the weight of his choices pressing harder than any enemy's grip. Around him, the team gathers, but the silence between them is louder than the battle they just survived. Their eyes say what their mouths cannot. We are breaking, and we don't know if we can be fixed. For a moment, Peacemaker is not their leader, not their shield. He is just another man bleeding among the wreckage. The word peace feels like a cruel joke on his tongue. Peace is not here. Peace may never come. But still, something inside him refuses to let go. The darkness whispers to him, tempting, cruel, convincing him that he is nothing more than his scars, nothing more than the shadow of his father, nothing more than a failed soldier in a broken world. His hands tremble, his breath shudders, and for an instant, he almost believes it, almost. But then his gaze lifts not at the ground, not at the ghosts, but at the faces around him. Harcourt, battered yet unyielding, refusing to let despair claim her. Economos, hiding behind sarcasm, but still here, still fighting. Adebayo, torn by doubt, but still holding the line. These people are not just soldiers, they are his anchor. They are the reason his scars mean something. And in that moment, something shifts. He does not erase his pain. He does not silence the ghosts. He accepts them. And with that acceptance, he feels a fire rise again. The enemy, cloaked in shadows, strikes once more, forcing the team into their harshest trial yet. Blades clash, bullets fly, and Peacemaker charges into the chaos, no longer fighting to bury his scars, but to wield them. Every wound is a reminder of survival. Every scar is a story of endurance. He fights not as a man trying to escape his past, but as one who owns it, who refuses to let it define his future. His roar cuts through the battlefield like thunder, his rage turned into strength, his sorrow turned into fire. For the first time in a long time, he is not fighting to prove himself to his father, or to a world that never believed in him. He is fighting for the people beside him, the family he never thought he could have. The climax builds like a storm at its peak. The ground shakes, the sky splits with fire, and the enemy reveals its cruelest hand, an attack not of flesh, but of spirit. It twists memories, it unravels truths, it forces Peacemaker to relive the worst of himself in a cruel illusion. He sees the boy he was, broken and scared. He hears his father's voice, venomous and unrelenting. He watches the trail of bodies left behind in the name of justice, in the name of peace. And for a heartbeat, he falters. The world spins, the noise grows, and it seems the enemy has won. But then clarity. Peacemaker does not deny the images. He does not fight them. He embraces them. He accepts that he has failed, that he has hurt, that he has bled, but he also accepts that he is still here, still standing, still choosing to fight. And with that acceptance comes fury, a righteous fury that no illusion can hold back. The battlefield erupts as he breaks through the enemy's hold, dragging his team back into the light. Together, they strike, their broken pieces aligning into something stronger, something sharper. Their scars do not weaken them, they bind them. And as the final blow lands, as silence finally swallows the chaos, Peacemaker stands tall, blooded, battered, but unbroken. His eyes burn not with arrogance, but with resolve. He has no illusions of being a perfect man. He knows his scars will never fade. But he also knows this: scars are proof that he survived. And survival means there is always another chance to fight for something better. The camera would linger on him here. Standing in the wreckage, the weight of everything pressing down, but not crushing him. The title would burn across the screen like Fire Peacemaker 2x5, back to the Suture. And in the silence after, the unspoken truth would linger. Sometimes healing isn't about erasing the wound. Sometimes healing is about learning to carry the scar.